Hello, everybody. Today, we're having a wonderful show. I'm Empty Turtle. I'm here with Dr. David Jubb, and this is Jubb Talk on No Mind Radio. And glad you tuned in. Today, our episode is Brain Works, and we're just going to cover a few things about the brain today. Dr. Jubb, how are you doing today, senor?
I'm really good, mate. I reckon actually the more that you can get off with a big bang, basically, but I know that a big bang didn't exist, you know what I mean?
So the big bang's no way. It didn't happen.
Well, it causes transderivational search for information. It caused people to be in a bit of a trance. But how relaxed your shoulders are, how relaxed your tummy is, as you're listening to things. But if you're able to be empty, you see, inside your own self, and you've gutted the mind and mind the guard, you could be spiritual like yourself. You've got a distinguished audience, and I'm really glad to be talking to people through you. Today, about the brain especially.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. We have the best audience in the world. And, hey, you know what? If I'm feeling good, I'm ready for anything.
That's amazing, because I know that whenever I connected in with you, you were always very celebratory. Incredibly, celebrating life by burning the candle at both ends. But I'm glad that you've been able to recover and walking around as you are, because it's not good to be smacked with a big truck.
Not every night.
You survive.
That's right.
It's pretty radical. So where you're quiet in bed, a lot of things come to you. You're kind of looking over your life a bit. I guess that sort of happened, didn't it? And
happens to a lot of
so something spiritual is like when you've got nothing needed for digestion. You see, energy isn't being taken by digestion, right?
Okay.
Which most people it is, isn't it?
Yes,
right.
Especially if you go to the buffets.
Right, yeah. Well, you could go to the buffet and you could have an eating slender strategy in the way you use your brain.
Yeah.
So you could be thinking about how does that food feel really good in your body, after you've consumed it. And could you escape afterward if a bear chased you?
No, absolutely not.
See,
the bear would catch me, and he'd have a great
I know. I love connecting with you because you're so friggin' honest. But that's the reason why you've got such a good, distinguished audience. But the small Earth, and knowing you've got a model that fits every single bit of information in, and you can go back into civilization and you could see when things started, like, for instance, because the orientation of the civilization. And your brain is thinking a little different, maybe, because you've got patterns that are picked out, you see. And you could not know something, but suddenly, like, a pattern comes to appear in your brain. And how did it happen?
Let me ask you really quick. Does the brain of people's brains, do they work differently in different parts of the world?
Well, couldn't we say that it's so distinct? Of course, you've got a jet, let's say.
Okay.
And it's a 6th generation jet. And so it's what's capableness of this. So you're talking, are you, about a flight craft manual, or you're talking about how to drive the craft?
More like thinking process. I mean, language is one thing, right? So you're going to think, I don't know, differently or the same.
That's like where you're driving the craft.
Okay.
Okay, so you'd have to have a manual how to drive the craft?
Well,
it's a 6th generation. It's like really a pretty incredible craft.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You're going to need a manual.
Well, wouldn't you need some training to actually be able to? No, I'm asking you. You think anybody could just jump into the jet and fly it?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we're talking about a queen, let's say, which lives for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and she has a relation with the beekeeper, right?
All right.
Yeah, and the worker bee, she's going to live on average in the summer, like maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
That's it.
Well, how many? The queen is laying massive amounts of eggs, and it's more than the body weight she has.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
And those worker bees are female worker bees.
Really? All of them? Not all of them, right?
All the worker bees are female.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the bee was the only
You see,
female.
you see, your mind is in a paradigm that's only caused you to think a certain way, and you're unaware that insects are mostly female.
I had no idea.
No, I know. You see, you'll say, I'm glad to kill him. But what if you said, I'm glad to kill her? She was pregnant and she needed a bit of blood from me.
Yeah, you're right. That wouldn't sound good.
Yeah. Well, there's paradigms that are sort of set of rules that, cause you to interpret the world around you in a set way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one is a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, you said as a man and a woman. Are you able to control your pee-pee if you're in front of a naked woman?
That's a good question. It's been a while.
Well, you see, this is immature. You're immature.
Well,
right? What about, are you embarrassed because you're naked?
No, not anymore.
Oh, so you've been somewhere like that, have you? You've had to or something.
I mean, we don't have our experience.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. But would you say that the average person that could be very immature on this level of sexuality itself?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Because you have no idea, really, right?
Yeah.
And so, what would explain why ethnocentricity exists? Ethnocentricalness.
Let's give everybody a rundown. Let's give everybody a rundown what that means.
You were talking about, could cultures cause people's brain to be used differently?
Yes.
Yeah, like jets. And jets could be used differently. Could you agree?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Right.
Could a lot of money go into jets, but a certain amount of, where are they? What are they doing? What are those jets doing?
Flying.
Yeah, but they could be actually like bombing someplace.
Yes, okay.
Or there could be surveillance and all sorts of stuff, which who's to know? Like, please.
So,
but they could be transporting a lot of people everywhere.
Yeah.
And what happens where, perhaps the control for that is outside the plane?
Well, that would be a very unpopular model.
And cars and things and such.
Like remote control, maybe?
Well, I'm only just saying that people's own autonomy can have been interfered with, that's all. Yes?
Yes.
So I'll give you an example. There's two nations, yes, that absolutely do die of a disease, right?
All right.
And then the rest of us, well, we don't have that disease.
Okay.
Yeah? I'll give you an example. How about arachnophobia?
That is arachnophobia, like the fear of spiders, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about it?
Well, I just said that two countries actually have that as a disease that you could die from.
From arachnophobia.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever heard how a huge elephant
What about it?
could be afraid of a spider?
Oh, yeah. I've actually heard that they're afraid of mice, too.
Well, now we're talking about, what direction where you're going in life, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And your focus and attention. And that could be the very unique,
Well, maybe I'm just trying to, how do you say? What's the word I'm looking for? Relate? Or agree. Elephants can be afraid of small things.
Yes, but, okay, so we could say that fear could have shut the animal down?
Sure.
Do you know that?
I mean, there's animals that react.
Animals might be more instinctive, but would then, if you look at us as a species, could you see that we could have been shut down because fear?
Yes, some people do.
Well, okay, so neurologically, if you have a lot of don't, won't, can't, should, try, but, must, only, never, always, it's going to show that neurologically you've got epinephrine, norepinephrine, and but you're going to be short of a lot of other stuff, and you're going to be over acid. We're going to say that you've got a lot of cortisol, because of your speech. So that's aversive, and let's just talk about the lexical, but then put it aside for a second, because what about the body language? Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. So could these things be a window into the internal matrix of the mind?
Yes.
Well, then if somebody is in pleasantry and interest, like you were saying, they more are in whole brain patterning. And when you're in aversion, you can't get into your frontal cortex.
I see.
So you have to have no need, and suddenly now you're in your frontal cortex again. But when you've got need, you've got pain. And the interpretation of some sensation is, as you've got no need, you're more in an I-aware state, you've got an empty center, MT. You're MT, you see.
Yes.
And you've got the turtle, which is methodical, and it's going to get there, right?
Eventually.
So what happens when somebody gets there but they rush at the end?
Well, you gotta
Then we could
enjoy
miss
it.
out.
That's right.
A stitch in time saves nine. Yeah. And the early bird gets the seed and always gives it to the second bird there.
I thought it gets the worm.
Well, if you're
The earliest worm. The earliest bird.
you've got an ethnocentrically conditioning, which we can hear, and it sort of really maybe sometimes leaves our sisters behind with the subject.
We do not want to do that.
Oh, well, no, you are when you mention that maybe that you've been a flesh eater of the past or something. You see, because you've accepted flesh.
Yes, I have.
Yes. So, well, people listening could have accepted flesh.
Most of them have, I bet.
And so, people eat worms and they eat bugs and they eat frogs in some places. And
Whatever it takes to
snails,
survive, right?
And
Bats,
dogs and cats.
scorpions on a stick.
Yeah, I think that these are real cruel and not anything that we need to do. It's sort of like bothersome to animals because it's not living simply that others could simply live. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So we start out by realising that Spain and Italy sort of have a condition where, arachnophobia could kill you.
Okay.
Have you ever heard about getting the bone pointed in Australia?
Getting the bone pointed?
Yeah, you see, you haven't.
No.
Did you know that a bone got pointed at you and 4 days later you're dead?
Whoa. I've never heard of that.
You don't know that could you imagine that somebody could be so shut down that suddenly they couldn't really do anything?
Yes, happens.
And you don't think that that's part of what goes on where someone is when they're walking around?
I don't know.
What if you were in the desert right now?
Yes.
And I said to you,
Yep.
You don't have much water and you need to walk 2 miles and you need to have a lot of water in your mouth.
That'd be tough.
Yeah, okay. But not if I gave you instruction.
Yeah.
Right? I said, stop thinking right now
Okay.
and only just have a lemon in your mouth and feel the lemon and saliva pouring into your mouth and have a wet mouth instead by just imagining you have a lemon in your mouth. But I'm just giving you a clue.
Ooh,
No, wait a minute. No, I'm just giving you a clue because is it better to feel sweet and relaxed and you've got tart and things and such and something fragrant and delicious in taste that cause water and moisture to be in your mouth, or you're walking along and you've been cortisoled out because you've got a lot of don't, won't, can't, should, try, but, must, only, never, always, and that's lexical, but you're also hunched forward and, you've got your head forward really huge, like you're hallucinating the vast majority of everything that goes on. Plus, you've got the corrugator supercilium muscle furrowed so bad, and it's like crunched your eyes down, and and also too, the orbital muscles around the mouth are pressed, and the lips are real thinned out, And someone looks, and God help us, their mouth is definite, no question about it, turned down. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yes?
Yes.
Go and have a look. Somebody can have a look. You can see that how you've been in life is going to cause you to be able to survive in the desert perfectly. I could see that, and I wouldn't even have to give you an instruction. Or you'd have to be, I'd say, well, you should stop all your internal dialogue because it's absolutely defeating everything you do right now, and listen to what I say and put a lemon in your mouth and stop all your cortisol stuff forever, right now, for 1 hour. Whilst you walk across the desert, because you're going to have to do it, and you're going to have to wet in your mouth, otherwise you're going to be dry mouth, because you're dry mouth right now. Mm-hmm. If you're dry mouth right now, it's because don't, want, can't, should, try, but must, only, never, always. It's exclusive. Yes?
So by changing those words to something more positive, I'll have a wet mouth?
By having your shoulders back.
Really?
Yes, by actually increasing the distance and the space that you have where your Venus cava is. And that's like stop having hunched shoulders and being turned in, like most people, see?
Yeah. Yes.
So when you walk into a place and you look around and you find someone that's attractive to yourself, are they sitting and all hunched over and... they're looking fetalized. Are they looking fetalized, meaning in a fetal position, all back rounded out, head forward, shoulders all crunched, never, ever, ever using the extensor muscles, ever, only flexor muscles. And so it's called muscle bound. Can you put your foot behind your head? You see, you should be able to. You see, you should be able to get up and down off the floor and not be this three-pronged whacker. You can get up with 2 prongs. You can get up with 1. You don't need 3.
Just it really depends on the situation.
Yes, you see, so how somebody goes through something like on a balanced log, for instance. Could you imagine that kinesthetically your intelligence caused you to have ease of ability to let go of your base of support so as you could venture across? And that it was made safe because it was like a few feet up off the ground, but and you didn't have to rely per se on anyone. You kept your eyes focused where you were going, soft, and you put one foot over the other and you came forward and you completed the task versus... No, you held on to your base of support too long. You forgot where your feet are because you're always looking down at the log. You're looking around when anybody ever talks to you and you're distracted. You see? Yeah. And you didn't come foot over foot. You turned around sideways and came across the log sideways. You don't think that that's a metaphor for what you're doing in life? What would it be if your base jumped, right, or you jumped out of an aeroplane?
Okay.
And do you think that the average person just can jump out of an aeroplane?
Do you think what?
Jump out of an aeroplane.
I don't think it's normal.
So physiology that you walk through, yes, and you own, yes, do you think you could have a lot more control over things you do in life if you had experiences this way?
I think experience is good, depending on what it is. I think...
no, we were talking about actually having a breakthrough experience and being able to own the physiology of what most people fear.
Oh, okay. Thought we were jumping out of a plane.
No, we were just talking about walking through what you fear. We were just saying some Chicken Little could be in life, and that Chicken Little could have just shut you down. And it's a lot of things which you could do, but you're not. Yes? Isn't it that when you look at surveys of people who were at the end of their life, they tick the box they could have done far more than they did?
Oh, absolutely. I think everybody will.
Did you know that the vast majority of people say, and they tick the box, they say, I shut myself down more than I should have?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
And they realise that? Yes?
Yes.
So what about groupthink? You don't think groupthink that tells you that it's some condition when it's not?
Oh, groupthink can Well,
Could groupthink be the reason why, you've got arachophobia or you've got a pointing of the bone?
sure.
Okay, so it's pretty strong, isn't it?
Yes.
In other words, like we've got a great instinct to be social, and even when it's not beneficial for ourselves.
That's wild if you think about it.
And you think about protecting Darwinism or you went to the moon. Why? Because you're selfish. You come up with a selfish reason, honest.
I think we need to go to the moon. Whether we have been there or not, we need to go.
Yes.
And we need to colonize it.
Yes. Could I ask you what a natural birth is?
Yes. Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, a natural birth is when a baby comes out of the woman's, and there was no anything needed to make the birth happen, right?
Yeah,
whether it's
right.
drugs or surgery or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, someone born in the crawl with the amniotic sac intact until your shoulders are born, and then the amniotic sac breaks, and this is called being born in the crawl. And babies all should be born this way, hydraulically, not having to be mechanically pushed out. And everybody's born this way has eaten live food, not dead food. And if you eat live food, life begets life and dead begets dead. So if your own thinking has existed in the whole picture of everything, do you have a feeling that you're going to survive if you go beyond prefix set patterns of response to survive? Because isn't that the definition of intelligence?
Ooh, man. I'm just trying to keep up, y'all. The definition of intelligence is, say again?
It's the ability to go beyond prefix set patterns of response, mate, to have survived. Okay. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And what's leadership? It's the control of information, if you think about it, yes. What's religion? It's the ability to have submission to authority for the sake of certainty, but that could be a dogma, couldn't it? Yeah? What about modern medicine? What's the definition of modern medicine? Is that the art of keeping people amused while nature takes its course?
There's definitely an art to it.
No, I said, is it the art of keeping people amused while nature takes its course? I'm just talking and giving you the definition of modern medicine.
Chris Rock famously said, there's no money in the cure.
Is that a black slap?
Maybe.
Is that part of the syndication?
Maybe.
Was that commercial?
I don't know. It was a comedy special.
Yeah, but if you have someone being deposed, that's a John, and you have an Amber Alert, and you always do it just before you start a war, what about that?
Man, I'm confused now.
Oh, you don't think a Johnny Depp and an Amber Alert occurred? Bull dust. No, you're crazy. Do you know what I mean? You see, do you have a feeling? No, I'm just saying, do you have a feeling that the way a brain is coded like Pavlovian dogs, when a bell rang and people were salivated, mate? They salivate just because of the bell. And that's what I was saying, full circle. If you're walking around and you're really relaxed and happy and interested, and you've got a focus more to be empty, which is I, and am is care, simple. So you say, I care, that's it, that's I am. Now you're going to survive in the desert. Why? Well, because you're going to have sweetness in your life. Fluids are going to flow. You don't think that actually I don't, won't, can't, should, try, but, must, only, and every single thing that you do, it's like only one person's going to win and the other person's going to lose. And it's so interesting to me. Oh, yeah, I've got to watch it every day. But it's going to influence everything I do. Why? Well, because I've got an up-down stuff going on. Up, down, up, down, up, down. But you see, could using direction more relaxed and being more horizontal.
You told me one time, not too long ago, a great way, and I think everybody should learn this or at least hear it or know of it, a great way of bringing yourself into the present, being conscious in the now. You say to yourself, what is it again?
Am I aware?
Am I
aware? Yeah, it's a little I.
I am aware?
No, it's little I. It's not capitalized I.
Okay.
It's little I. I. And did you know that it starts with just a little I?
Well, let's bring everybody into the into the consciousness, present consciousness, and all you said before, it was all you got to do is say, "I matter."
I care. Well, care is matter, the same word.
Okay.
It's like a coffin is a casket or something. Care and matter are the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a matter to you.
I care.
Well, matter is actually something that's substantial, that's actually real sort of thing to us.
Ever since you told me
because it's
that.
I and am, which is real, which is you having awareness over perception. That's not perception itself. See, so consciousness is very limited, as you were talking about before at the start of the show.
Okay.
Consciousness, what you're conscious of, is only 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information at any one period of time, and the rest of it is below consciousness, isn't it?
Sure.
Okay, so you and I, well, everybody listening, they've got a random phoneme generator, and below that you've got some channels going on: kinesthetic, auditory, visual, and inside that you've got vestibular, you've got proprioceptive, you've got visceral, you've got vomer and nasal organ, which senses pheromone. You've got your ethmoid organ, which senses capacity to be able to hold a thought whilst you entertain paradoxical types of topic and things and stuff. And so you've got senses which are used. And are you able to, if you're not in flow, because when somebody would have been adverse, like a don't want, can't, should, try, but, must, only, and they're going along in the desert, they don't really have anything except a dry mouth. Why? Because cortisol is there in the kinesthetics. Imagine that somebody really is going through life and they have their head so far forward, oh my God, you're not going to be attracted to anybody where they've got in a fetal position, like we were saying. It's only somebody who's got a good posture and things that's like this. And if somebody's leaning forward, are you going to give them the task to do? Of course you are. If you're going to talk about something and you see somebody lean back, it's like, well, you're going to give that person the task to do? No. You see what I mean? Yes? You've got a kinesthetic intelligence that's way beyond what's lexical. That's what I'm letting you know.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. So the brain works in multiple ways, right?
Well, it anticipates something is existing, like you're pointing out, before it's used.
Wow. Okay. So our brain anticipates something that's what?
Well, you have to. You just said, I have to be able to anticipate the future to be able to take a step. Of course you do. And it's part of that, isn't it? And what happens if the ground wasn't there, though?
You would fall.
Because why?
Because there's nothing
Because
there.
you had something which needed to be anticipated of what would have been, and it wasn't there? Correct. And is there a reason why sometimes anticipation itself, that my ability to move my neck, I am normal, and I had whiplash. Now it's normal because the anticipation of it being normal, did that cause it to heal much quicker than someone who it wasn't paid attention to? And every time someone anticipated they would have pain, and that actually caused them to have pain when they moved and actually stopped their movement? Yes. Don't tell me that's not so. It is.
That is so. I mean, you don't want to feel pain.
No, I know.
Right?
Well, what about a scratch test? The scratch test. Have you heard of that?
No, never heard of the
Okay,
scratch
so
test.
when someone's hypnotized and one arm is invincible, and make a scratch on that and it's just gone in a second, and now the same bloke you've hypnotized and said the other arm is very sensitive, going to scratch, it's going to be there for 2 days. What happened?
I don't know.
Bradykinin was released. Renin and bradykinin was released from the kidneys under the circumstance that inflammation would exist, and that substances caused histamine to be released, so the membrane of the cells was much more permeable on the arm that was going to be, you said, oh, I'm going to be very sensitized, I'm going to be real spoiled. I'm going to say that that's like somebody kissed me, but it's like, a spider, a snake bit me or something, you see.
So this actually happened, this hypnosis.
Look, we've got to describe easily, and it's got to fit into a model, doesn't it? But it does describe how somebody could easily die of arachophobia. Plus, it could describe to you the phenomenon, like I pointed out, of pointing the bone.
Thank you.
Yes? And now, what about somebody who eats a lot of dairy? They get a lot of cancer? Yes, they do.
Really?
And what about when somebody doesn't have any dairy? Do they get any cancer? No, they don't get any breast cancer. You have feeling that actually what you're doing in life and everything is not the cause of your own health and wellness? Of course it is. You think that if we eat something that's life begets life and death begets lead, so you could learn about live food, a listener could learn more.
So, Dr. Jubb, you're from Australia, and they have a term out there, something about the bush. How does your brain work having been in the bush?
Okay, I think that's a good question because if you're in the bush, you're alone. You'd be just probably alone.
Okay.
You're in the bush, so it's how you keep yourself company. So if your company is like a lemon in your mouth relative, and you had to go a long distance, you're going to have plenty of saliva for sure. Yeah. And you'd have to be more in an upright position because you've got to have a cerebral spinal pump working to get a CNS fluid to your brain proper and everything. So you would have grown up more like really more posture, more upright. You couldn't have spent time in chairs or anything much. And there'd be little to be not anything you did that was head forward. You'd have never done anything which was an occupation much that was head forward. You wouldn't have any lexical much stuff, not really, but you have a very great serial processing, meaning a sequential type of processing memory, which is very radical and heavy and deep. And also a parallel type of processedness, different types of processing memory that you have, which is really vast, matter of fact, you see. So you'd be doing things to be empty, that's for sure, right? But you'd notice where the voice was, what was the, you'd be more in the note of G where your voice is, because it would be coming more from the belly. Versus, hi, how you doing?
It'd be more, hello.
Well, no, you say hi. You actually raise your voice a little when you say hi.
I see.
Because women, our sisters, all have a high voice.
Okay.
So
men they
naturally,
like that.
Well, naturally we just raise our voice a little bit. Men do.
Hi, honey.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right.
And you pull your chin in a little bit, and you raise your eyebrows just slightly, and you've got kid rapport, And you could be selling things, and you're going to sell it to everybody because you've got kid rapport where things are.
Okay.
And so some people are really good salespeople. So talking about ethnocentricity, did you know that white men are generally, as a race, are not taught to bargain?
Really? Not
well, you think about the culture. Every other culture, the price is something which can be varied.
Sure.
And so a lot more variation is in the design where people are to be able to achieve something and to get agreement. But if you were taught to have limitedness in the way that you got agreement, could it be shown that you're really not getting any agreement anywhere?
Yes.
But wouldn't it be better that you did? Because, isn't it that leadership, and as far as things are concerned, it's better that you've got a quorum sensed, and you've got a process which is of informed decision making, which comes about from consensus building, and that you vet things which kind of really is something which should be vetted. Yeah, until you've got a clear path, so you don't have impasse. And so we'll go along with what everybody says when we could feel there's no influence, and that's what's called supreme.
Okay.
That means you're a man where you're showing up, and you're not a Peter Pan or a woman.
It's very interesting stuff. So basically, the brain works based on your environment?
Well, you could say that we're basically born empty, and then we take aboard the movement patterns like a wolf might. The omega is the absolute leader of the pack. When the omega passes, the pack is in disarray, whereas the alpha could pass and is going to be replaced. But omega is a tough one because the omega is the one that incites the other dogs to play. And what happens when play is not there?
Boring.
Exactly. So some dogs actually, believe it or not, they actually perform the role of the most loved dog.
Oh, that would be me.
Yeah. And so dogs are not happy. They sniff every other dog. And they're sniffing and they're still sniffers. And they're sniffing every dog, and they kind of find who's the sweetest.
So that's how they do it.
Yeah, well, they're kind of intelligent at a level of love.
Because, that's not something, that's kind of frowned upon at bars and clubs nowadays.
No, that's not true because actually, like young people, they're driven to, armpit.
Really?
Yeah, smell, armpit smell.
So would you say deodorant could have an effect on your armpit smell?
No, I'm talking about actual pheromone, not synthetic stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's going to be mixed with synthetic stuff because people wear deodorant.
Yeah, you're going to interfere a lot with that. And
really?
Yeah.
So don't wear deodorant.
No, I didn't say that. I just said what the reason for that is. It could be because you're eating a lot of flesh and it's putrefied. Like, stop. Why do you need deodorant? It's like when you just stop eating flesh sort of thing because it's going to putrefy and rot.
I'm going to need deodorant because
now,
I'm not going to stop.
When you have a fish on deck, can you smell it?
Yes.
Why?
Because it stinks.
Yeah, but why?
The smell
Bacteria is in the air. When you fart or you get up off the throne and it stinks to high heaven, is it because something putrefied in your gut?
Something you ate, I bet.
Absolutely. Okay, so when you're rancid fat, like what's called a stool, which really is a steatorrhea.
Okay.
Okay, so now animals could have a steatorrhea stool, all right?
Which,
it means,
for the people listening, what is steatorrhea?
It means
stool?
that it's foul smelling, really bad.
Okay, steatorrhea
stinks.
stool.
Why? Because it's fermenting, it's rotting, it's putrefying.
That's disgusting.
Yes?
Yeah.
So when a fish is on the deck out of the water, why is it starting to rot?
Because it's putrefied?
No.
Why?
Why is it, it's saying, why is it starting to rot? It's on the deck.
Bacteria.
You just fished it. And why is it breaking down to bacteria?
Because it's dead.
No, because it's meant to be in 52 degrees, you idiot.
Oh, 52 degrees. I did not know.
Well, when you take it out of 52 degrees, what's going to happen?
It's going to die.
It's going to it's going to rot. Sorry. Okay, so you're smelling what?
Rot.
Bacteria.
I'm smelling bacteria.
What are you smelling now in the bacteria? Rancid fat.
Okay.
Why is it rancid?
Because
you've got omega-3 and omega-6 and omega-9 in the fish, and because only you have to look at it and oxidize, it's going to be rancid? Yes, that's right. Have you ever heard about trans fatty acid?
Yes.
You know that lots of people have had to ban it from fast food recent?
I think that's a good thing.
Why?
Well, I mean, fatty
because
acid
it is the major cause of cardiovascular disease.
Oh, wow.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Because of a rancid fat. What's a rancid fat?
Sounds like a dead fat.
It's a fat that's oxidized, mate. Okay. Can you smell a fat that's rancid?
Yes.
Okay, it's fish on the deck of the boat.
Okay.
What happened? It raised its temperature above
52.
And what happened?
It died.
There you go. But more than that, it turned
to
rancid. Can fats that are omega-3 and omega-6 and omega-9, because they're essential fats, or called that, but they're unsaturated fats, aren't they?
Oh,
yes?
so, okay.
So they oxidize. They can be oxidized very quick.
So if we stay away from
what happens when you eat oxidized fat? Are you going to have proper blood? No. You're going to have pinched red blood corpuscles all over the place. Okay. Are you going to be fat from it? Yes. Are you going to be dying? Yes. Because dead begets dead. Could I ask you, when you go to kill a cow, do you have any feeling?
Yeah.
No. Okay, because you're a white man or something or whatever. But somebody controlled your heart so that you could have love whilst you cut the head off a chicken, right?
I guess.
Yeah, so you had to shut your heart down and your feelings to do that, right?
Yes.
Is that like called being made a man?
Yes.
Yeah, that's beast barrack, mate.
Oh.
Okay? Yeah, beast
That's
barrack.
not good.
Well, it really is. Don't want, can't, should, try, but must only. But it's always like a voice which isn't flowing much.
What are some good words for people to use?
Well, first it would be to have a nice flow and smoothness and sort of really sweetness, and your voice is more chalaik.
I like it.
Meaning that it's resonant, energizes, versus a lot of voices, that go to talk like this, and you're going to be clipped, and it's going to cause you to be aversive.
Ooh, don't like it.
No, that's right.
Doesn't sound good.
No, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's militaristic.
Ooh.
Would 4-beat be militaristic as well?
Oh, probably.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're big enough, but what about if you're smaller?
Ain't gonna work.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You see?
Yep. So, stay away from the trans fats, and your poop will smell
Well,
better.
if a rabbit is always coming out of the burrow and says, "Eagle, eagle, don't eat me,"
you're gonna eat it.
well, it maybe get fear of the rabbit might cause the eagle to eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, what about when the rabbit comes out and goes, "Woof, woof, 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 don't eat me,
Wolf's
don't
gonna
eat me."
It's gonna eat it.
Okay, so it's going to eat it.
Yeah.
So what about when it comes out of the rabbit hole, it goes, "Ow!
It's gonna sound like a wolf.
Don't eat me! Don't eat me! Don't eat me!" You say, me eat is not a good thing, really.
That's how
No, when
the
you
wolf
me
hears it.
eat, it means you're cannibalistic, basic,
okay.
really. You're a step away from it, honest.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and there's not a bone in your body that could have any me eat, because all the surfactants in that is destructive to your body. You can't break it down.
You know, I would think that eating a human being would be actually
When you eat fish,
unhealthy.
you're eating something first. You're consuming trans fatty acid.
Okay.
When you use canola oil, in your vegetables and all that, what are you doing? Using a seed oil, which is the same as a fish oil, same, rancid. Now, it's going to cause phlegm, mucus. It's going to cause people's blood pressure to be just off the charts. It's going to cause people to feel dizzy and very wobbly and hyperactive and all kinds of things, yes? And what are they going to do with it? They're going to put a lot of rock salt in there and stuff to make it taste okay. And your body going to break it down? No. It's going to rot and putrefy, you see? And the nicest thing is the sauce.
The sauce?
Yeah.
I believe it. A good sauce can do anything. It can work wonders.
Yeah, because if you had a bowl of Tabasco, you could make cardboard taste nice, you
Sure,
see?
absolutely.
Because it's going to bring, wet moisture more to the mouth. But do you have a feeling that what people eat is the cause of dead?
It's the cause
Does
of a
dead
lot of
beget
things.
dead?
Yes.
So when you cook the truth, is that okay?
Well, you don't want to eat the truth.
No, you don't want to cook the truth, I said.
Okay.
We do consume
Well, if
truth.
you're going to cook the truth,
Yeah, it's assimilatable.
I'm anticipating
So
that you're
truth
gonna
is
eat it.
assimilatable, whereas things this is not truth. It's not really assimilatable, and the reason is because the definition of truth is what? What's mutually beneficial.
That's right.
Exactly.
What's mutually beneficial.
So if it's not mutually beneficial,
and
it won't be
gentlemen,
right.
Today, if you learned anything, truth, what's the definition? What's mutually beneficial is truth. All right. Hey, that's it for us today. We'll be talking to you soon. No Mind Radio. This is the podcast JUBBTALK. And we love you, and we'll see you soon. Happy Face, you got anything to tell them?
MT, love you, mate.
Right on, y'all.
Love you guys.
All right.